Sarah Klee Hood is launching her campaign for Congress. Welcome into News Live at 6. I'm Bradley Hoffenstein.
And I'm Tyler Radel. Right now, she's the only candidate running against Syracuse Congressman Brandon Williams.
We're joined now live from Klee Hood's launch party with our CitrusTV reporter, Luke Radel. Good evening, Luke.
Hey there, guys. I'm here with Brandon Williams' new opponent, Sarah Klee Hood, at her launch party here in Syracuse. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us tonight on CitrusTV News.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thanks as always, Luke.
Alrighty, so I want to get right into the questions with you. Your opponent, Congressman Williams, released his quarter one finance reports with the FEC. We see a lot of donors like Harlan Crow, folks from Texas, some oil executives out there. What are your thoughts about his campaign contributions thus far?
Well, I think it's more of a you are what you preach. Those donations don't come from Central New York. They come from people that have a much higher income than pretty much every Central New Yorker. He is just not in step or in tune with the community that he is currently representing.
Yeah. Now, I want to talk about your campaign. You launched it last week, and on your campaign website, you mentioned the fact that you say Brandon Williams is anti-Social Security. But in a statement on February 26th, the congressman said that he supports those programs and will not vote to slash them in any way. So how do you reconcile those two statements, one from you and one from him?
Sure. I think when you're voting lock and step with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is obviously a Social Security opponent and against, well, she is for those cuts, you don't get to say that you will increase the age for Social Security and then say that you are against cuts. That right there in and of itself is fundamentally a cut of services to folks that rely on that for their livelihood.
When has the congressman said that he supports raising the retirement age on Social Security?
That has been part of his initiative in one of the caucuses that he is a member of.
Okay, he has said explicitly that he supports Social Security and Medicare. Do you believe him on that front, or do you think that he's actually going to cut Social Security and Medicare, despite the fact that he said he won't?
I think at the end of the day, we need to look at his voting record. It's very easy to say one thing when 1 in 4 in your district rely upon Social Security and the services it provides versus what is happening in Washington, D.C. behind closed doors.
Absolutely. And now let's talk about your campaign. You're launching it tonight. Tell the folks out there why you're running for Congress.
Here we go. We did a lot last year in the primary. We built a community of folks that are dedicated to the necessary and needed changes for our Central New York community, and we are really building upon that success. Brandon Williams is a representative that does not live here. He does not pay taxes here. He is looking to really fundamentally erode those programs and services that our community relies upon for their daily quality of life. And it's highly time that we have a representative that not only has roots here, is raising a family here, but understands the intricacies of being Central New York and what it means if your community is a farming community, is a rural community, or has an urban setting. You don't get to understand those implications to the community unless you're living here, and he hasn't shown up for us, and I haven't seen anything positive coming out of his campaign that truly represents the people and the important priorities of Central New York.
What is one issue that you're hoping to focus on throughout this campaign?
Oh my gosh, there are so many areas that we could look at. I think as a woman, it is highly important for me to focus on women's health and abortion. My grandmother fought this fight. My mother fought this fight. I'm fighting this fight. Raising 2 young daughters, I do not want them to have to fight this fight to ensure that they have the ability to maintain their livelihood and make decisions that will have a direct implication on their future and their ability to find success.
Sarah Klee Hood, thank you so much for joining us. Bradley and Tyler, back to you guys in studio.